It's time to do another Finecare progesterone machine videos. I've had a lot of questions here recently, so I thought we'd just kind of cover all of this in the video. So we do have, this machine will run two different kinds of progesterone tests. One that is using serum and one that is using whole blood. This is new. But the same machine can use either kind of tests. Now, on the machine, you have to decide if you're using serum or if you're using whole blood. And so if I'm using whole blood, I have to press that button right there and change it, if I can get to it. Whole blood. It's hard to do it on screen. I'll get there in a second. There we go, now it says whole blood. Remember, if you turn this machine off and restart it back up again, it'll revert back to serum. So if you're using the whole blood test, you need to make sure that every time you turn the machine back on that you've selected the whole blood, otherwise you'll make a mistake. Okay, so let's talk about these two tests. What's the difference? Well, when you buy the serum test, you have to centrifuge the blood. Well, the hell, let's back it up here a second. First thing you've got to do, in any test, you've got to draw blood. So whatever you do, you've got to draw blood. I like to use a 1 ml needle, syringe, and a 22 gauge needle. Seems to work really well. And a tourniquet helps as well. We do sell all this stuff at My British Supply. You can buy what's called a serum collection kit to get this stuff. And the tourniquet is very useful to have. Okay, so you've got to go draw blood. If you're doing the serum test, which is the one that we've had forever, you do have to spin that blood down. And you can see here somewhere it's going to say serum, and it's even not going to say that. It doesn't say serum. The new ones say whole blood. So when you're using, let's just go to this one right here. I can open it up with one hand, which is not so easy to do. Just excuse me here. There we go. What do you get in this one? Well, you get the same thing you basically get in the other ones. You're going to get 10 of these cassettes. And they have an expiration date on them. And you can see the expiration date of this is March the 24th. So it's a year from now. Great. Where do you need to store this? In your house, in your pantry. It doesn't need to be in the refrigerator. It will come with the nozzles that go onto, you can see I've got one loaded up there, onto the auto pipette. It will come with the buffer solutions. There they are, buffer solutions. It'll come with one of those for every test kit. And it will come with a ID chip that is programmed for this batch of test kits. And what you'll find is the test kit has a number on it, and you can see it right there. There's a number there, 140215 something, which will correspond to the number that's on the box, and also the number that's on the actual little cassettes themselves. So you've got to, first time you use this box, you've got to program it with this chip. It goes in, I've turned the right way around, it'll only go in one way, like that. You press read ID chip. It says, warning, read successfully. Yes, it is now programmed for this box of test kits. And if you insert a cassette that has not been programmed correctly, it will complain about it, and it will warn you that you need to redo this. One other mistake you can make, by the way, that I see people do quite a bit is they'll come up with a funky error where it goes in, spits it back out again, and what they've done is they've put the cassette in the wrong way around. You've got to put the cassette in with the dimple, holding it with a dimple end, and then put it in there first. It goes in all the way. Okay. When you turn the machine on, it's going to take a little bit of time to get her up to around 25 degrees. If you try to do a test when it's sub like 24 degrees, it will complain and it'll ask if you really want to go on. You have two different tests you can do. A standard test, which takes 15 minutes, or a quick test that does immediately. If you're doing quick tests, you will have already had the cassette with the blood in it, ready to go for 15 minutes, exactly 15 minutes before you run the quick test. Why would you want to run a quick test? Because you've got a whole bunch of tests to do, and you don't want to wait for the machine to wait 15 minutes between every test. But most of the time, you're going to do a standard test. If you're doing a quick test, go read up about it because you can make mistakes. It's really pretty straightforward. What do you got in the front row here? The one that we use to read that slot. Out, ejects the cassette if it's in there. And print, turns the printer off or on, or lets you do an individual print. The printer paper, you want to make sure this thing is really clipped down properly. So pull the paper out and click it like that. Otherwise, you get an error and it won't print. The thermal paper, we sell that on My British Supply if you need more. It lasts a long time. Okay, so now let's look at the individual tests and talk about differences. What is the difference? Not much. So first thing is that the buffer tubes are also indexed with the same number. There it is right there, 14021 5205. The same number as the test kit and as the actual cassettes that go with it. There's a match set. See the number up there? It's a match set. You cannot mix these things from different batches. You'll have problems. You've got to keep within this family. All right, so that's that one. If you're using this one, same thing. It comes with, again, indexed with the right number. And this one is 1417. And there you can see on this thing here, 1417. And you can see on this thing here, 1417. Match set. You've got to keep them all together. You can't mix around. And remember, if you're using this, you've got to come over here and change this to whole blood. Otherwise, you'll get an incorrect reading. So what's the correlation between these two systems? They're right on the money. I mean, if you do a test one and then the other at the same time, we've done 50 of these side by side when we first got the whole blood. They're right on, I mean, when I say they're right on the money, they're damn close. They're not going to be exact, but that's not the point. Look, if something reads 4.1 and the other one reads 5.2, they're essentially the same thing, and they'll be closer than that. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the auto pipette, because I see people get this wrong. So what I've got here is I keep the little buffer tubes. The buffer tubes that come with it, I keep those because they're pretty useful for collecting blood and spinning it down. Because you've either got to go spin it down and get the plasma off the top, or you've got to not spin it down and you're using whole blood and just take the blood. But in either case, the way that you use this is important, and I see people get this wrong. So let's go over that real quick. And I'll see if I can maybe prop this up. Let's see, let's go on this side over here. And hopefully I can get this on the screen. Let's see if this works. It does. Okay. So I'm using milk here. Why am I using milk? So you can see what the hell's going on. So on the auto cassette, on this, there's two positions. I'm going to push it in. There's one position, two positions. And you can feel some resistance. When it gets to that point there, you can hear it clicking. It takes more pressure to get it all the way down. The all the way down part is only used if you're going to be mixing up the solution in a little buffer tube or ejecting the solution you collected. Always, when you're collecting samples, you go part way down, not all the way, and let it up. So here we go. So what I'm going to do is, I've already pushed it halfway down. I'm putting the tip in the milk. I'm sucking up. And there is a correct collection. And you will see, it may be hard for you to see here, but there are a couple of lines. There's the shoulder. We get another. Back to where we were. It's hard to see it here, but there's a little scribed line right here. There's another scribed line right here, and then this is the shoulder where it fits onto the, goes to a bigger size to fit onto the auto pipette. When you've done a correct collection, it'll always come up to this line. You don't want to have bubbles in it. You want to have it up to here, and if you don't, redo it. So what you're going to do is you're going to start off by collecting serum or blood up to that line like this. You then put that back into, and of course I've got milk in this now, so it's just. You then put that back into the tube that has the buffer solution. So it goes back into that tube, and to do that, you just eject all the way down. And so I'm just going to. You'll see me do it. Goes, and I'm missing it. There it is. So now what do? You mix it up. I put it in there and I start mixing. I use this to mix it up. See it going up and down? I've got this little thing fuller than it would normally be. Let's just get rid of some of this. Make it a little bit easier for you to see. That's about how it'll look. Get my fingers out the way. That's about how it'll look. That'll be about what you'll end up with. So now you can see I'm up, down, all the way in, down, really mixing it up well. When I've got it mixed up thoroughly, that's when you go take your next all the way halfway down into the fluid, let it go. And there is the same pull again, like you saw before. And that now gets dripped into the cassette. So the cassette has an opening in it, and I'll just simulate that with this. You put it into the little window, you put that into the window, and it soaks into the cassette, and off you go to run your test. I don't want to open a test up because I'll ruin a test, and they cost money. So what's the difference in price, by the way? These are $90 for a box of 10. This is $300 for a box of 25. So you're paying a little bit more for the convenience of not having to spin the blood, but it does make it quicker and simpler. I like these tests, but they're both fine. We had a point where we didn't have these anymore. They're out of stock, and now they're both back in stock. You can order either one. They've both got a shelf life of 2 years. Don't have to refrigerate it, so they can last a long time. Somebody asked me about how do you turn the machine off. Well, of course, there's a power button right here. That's really straightforward. I do turn the machine off and I unplug it when I'm not using it. I don't want to get struck by lightning or something. We have over the years, and I think we've been selling these machines now for the better part of 6 years, we have had very, very few problems with machines. And if you do, unfortunately, have a problem, which is very unlikely, then we're an authorized dealer. Whelping out of Chicago will do a hot swap. They'll send you get them a credit card, they'll send you another one, and they won't use your credit card. So they just got that as a backup that you're going to return the old machine. And of course, it's got to be within the warranty period of 1 year for that to happen. But super easy to use. So now the next thing is what are the interpretation of numbers and how does it compare to other machines? So when you do a test, it's going to come up with a number down here. It'll come up with a number. And by the way, you can print that out. You can get a print out of it. You can store that in the machine, so you've got it there to compare with future tests. What do the numbers mean? Well, if you look at an IDEX, which a lot of the vets use, ovulation on IDEX is around a 5. On this machine, it's around a 7. The next day after ovulation on IDEX, it'll be an 8. On this machine, it'll be about 12. The day after ovulation, 2 days after ovulation, which is when you're going to do your AI, or vaginal AI, would be something around a 15 in IDEX, would be something around a 17 on this machine. I like to, on this machine, do AIs between a 17 and about a 25. Surgicals and transcervicals are done a day later. On an IDEX machine, that'll be a 25 plus. On this machine, it's going to be a 30 plus. So I like to do a surgical or a transcervical on something between a 30 and a 40 on this machine. And then as far as the other end, when you're doing C-sections and you want to find the progesterone levels to know you're safe, both this and IDEX are really the same on the low end, something around a 3. Now, depending on how many days it's been past due date, a 3.5 or less. We'd like it to be close to 3. It might be less than that, then you know you're okay. But yeah. Trying to think what else I've missed on this. The power supply will work on 220 volt as well. It comes with an adapter so you can use it in Europe. You could even use a car adapter and run it on 12 volts. So you can do that too if you want to be totally portable. It hooks up to a network and a PC. Never ever used it. I know nothing about that. It's just not important to me. Whelping, we give support directly for this ourselves. And so most of the times that people have questions, I just ask them directly. Occasionally we have to send somebody to Whelping, but it's far and few between. And I think that's the difference between us and a lot of other people that, now, first off, this is not a refurbished machine. I see some cheap machines that are refurbished. It's not being shipped from China. You buy one from China, you have a problem, you're screwed. You get direct support from us, and we are an authorized dealer. So that should all make a difference. Everybody should be selling this at the same list price. You're not allowed to sell these below list or below what their recommended price is, which is $2,700 or thereabouts. But we do have some ways that you can get a little bit off by joining our $129 club where you get free 2-day shipping and 5% off orders, which can, it's enough to make it worthwhile doing that just to buy this one machine. But that's it. There's lots of other machines out there. Machines that I see a lot are going to be this machine, the IDEX machines at vets, and also mini Vidas. If somebody's using a mini Vidas, be careful. The numbers are much, much higher. And also remember that in England or Europe, we're talking about different units. Typically, we measure things in, what do we measure in? Nanomoles per liter, as opposed to in the US, we measure in nanograms per milliliter. And the numbers you have to multiply by 3.18 to get to the European numbers. All right. So there you go. That's it. Highly recommend it. Love it. See you. Bye.
Thanks for watching the video. I hope you got some good information out of it. I hope you subscribe to our channel. Brought to you by mybreedersupply.com. We've been in business for over 8 years. We manufacture products to help you have successful breedings, successful whelps, and successful puppies. We've introduced a new subscription service, canineconnect.com. It's a 1-year subscription for $129, and for that you get 2-day free shipping on all of your orders. You get 5% off every order that you place, and you get direct access to our support line to help you with products that you buy from us and general questions about breeding your dogs. It's really a great deal. I hope you subscribe to that. Now the disclaimer. I'm not a licensed veterinarian. I'm not a professional health giver, but I am a guy that's been breeding dogs successfully for over 20 years. Any information you get from my videos is purely at your own risk. If you have any doubts about any of this stuff, you should definitely seek the help of a licensed professional. Again, thanks for watching. Have fun with your doggies. Bye, buddy.